Hello, it's Elfreda of Metta-morphics. I wanted to talk to you about somatic awareness and how important that is for some people when it comes to developing their own self-awareness or becoming conscious of their triggers, whether they're stress triggers, emotional triggers, or even trauma responses. So I'm somebody who struggles to visualize. Now, there is a term for this called aphantasia, and that means that somebody who has aphantasia, full aphantasia, can't see any pictures at all, and then it's on a spectrum, so there's varying degrees. Now, for me, I find it very difficult to create images in my mind, to visualize goals or things like that, and I find it quite difficult to recall images other than maybe color and then occasional details. Now that means that for me, if somebody does some kind of guided work with me and they ask me to picture things, I can't do it, and I struggle when it comes to hypnosis and being hypnotized when somebody asks me to do that. But what I've found is that working somatically, which is why I integrate somatic awareness in my own coaching practice, it supports me in becoming conscious of what's going on with myself without the need for visualization. So for example, if I bring awareness to my physical body and I notice any tension in my body, pain or perhaps discomfort, sometimes that can be an actual physical thing. Sometimes a tight muscle is just a tight muscle, and other times it is actually a somatic message of a tension within the body or somehow a physical representation of something you're experiencing. It's very common for people to have problems with their throat, which would be a tightness or a feeling like they've got a lump in their throat when there is an emotional component. This can often be unspoken words, or it can be a battle between our internal self where we want to say something, but there is another part of us that's stopping us from actually speaking up. So this level of somatic awareness, of recognizing what's going on with us physically without necessarily having to have images. Now, some people do. I know when I work with my clients, they often will describe something in themselves, a physical sensation, and then have a visual representation for it. For me, very often, it's a physical sensation, and I will have dialogue. So I will have words or associations, or I will get internal messages, internal knowing that will help me to understand what's actually happening. But this integration of the somatic with maybe the visual, if somebody is visual, and with the talk side of coaching or therapy, if you're working with a therapist, is really, really helpful, because most of the time our responses to our environment occur in our physical body. So if I'm frightened, it's not something I go through my head, it's something that I physically feel, which means as we get older, we have a huge physical and somatic experience associated with what's happened to us in our lifetime. And those somatic experiences can resurface very quickly. And so we can suddenly feel a tightness, a tiredness, have a wave of fatigue, get a headache, a tightness in our jaw. So many things can occur that is related to our experience of stress, and when we're stressed, or if we're unfortunate enough to be having a trauma response, it can be part of our trauma organized behavior when we're triggered. So paying attention to your physical self is a really, really useful way of understanding maybe what changes occur in you depending on where you are, what you're doing, who you're communicating with. If you'd like to find more about how I work with my clients and how we develop somatic awareness, then please get in touch. You'll find information below the video, or you'll find the link in my bio if you're on social media. I'd love to talk to you, and you're more than welcome to book a free 30-minute session with me to find out about how I work.